Hey everyone, welcome to Solo Shoutcast. My name is Drybear, and today we'll be bringing you another match from the myR Cup number 7. This is a round 3 game, again, right before the semifinals. This is a single elimination, best of 1 match. The winners of this match will move forward to the semifinals, and the losers will be completely eliminated. This is a best of 1. This is going to be between Team Live and myR EU. We saw myR EU in the myR Cup number 6. They went to the semifinals and ended up losing to Procore Gaming. So let's see if they can make it to the semifinals yet again. The team's moving out here. Let's go ahead and cover the players. You know most of them already, but let's go ahead and cover Team Live. Dusty Rhodes going to be playing Guan Yu. In the left lane, we're going to have Ao Kwang in the middle lane, played by Lunatic. Serenity on Bacchus with his lane mate Kona on Ares. And in the left lane, laning with Guan Yu is going to be Skilidon on her. So we have the on her Guan Yu lane in the left lane here. I'm probably going to go over and go into this minion buff, or maybe might go for the blue. A lot of times if they're in this side, they might go for the blue. We're going to have an Ao Kwang mid, and we've seen many Ao Kwangs not do that well in the mid lane. They're having a tough time pushing against other characters. They need to get up far enough to get a full tornado on the whole wave, but it exposes you in a weird way, and it's difficult to do that against aggressive players. And on this right lane, we're going to have an Ares Bacchus, which is very, very strange. We'll see how that works out. For myR EU, we're going to have Badger playing Sobek as usual. We're going to have Youngbei actually playing Agni this time. Now, Youngbei is Sobek's laning partner, Badger's laning partner, and they usually run a Sobek Artemis. This time they're going to be running an Agni Sobek. Now, the switch up here makes it so that Artemis is a little more vulnerable to initiation than Agni. Agni can easily Path of Flames out there. So this is going to be a lot more offensive because the damage output from Agni, but also a little bit more defensive and utility-wise because Agni isn't as exposable as Artemis is, so Youngbei won't be relying on Badger as much as he normally is. For the mid lane, we're going to have Ul W on Hell, and Hell actually, I believe, is not a visible character this game. Yeah, so she's standing right here, but she's not visible. I'm just doing these for practice, guys, so try and bear with me the fact that Hell isn't visible. The replay did mess up a bit, so I guess we're just going to pretend she's here. See, she's back in the mid lane, so she's running over here. She's around. So I do my best to try and let you know where she is just by the mini map, and I'll try to shout that out. We're gonna have Spoo playing Thor this time, and then Hirok's gonna be on Anubis. Now, Thor Anubis is a very, very offensive lane. However, it does rely heavily on Anubis' ability to land the Mummify. If Anubis can't land consistent Mummifies, he's actually gonna go for a Locust Swarm on the full wave here. Now, this is interesting because I have never seen a Bacchus Ares lane out in a competitive match so far. It's a very difficult lane to make work simply because they have good initiation, but they don't have the finishing power. They don't have kill potential. They have good damage output and good tankiness, but they don't have killing potential. They can't finish off kills. They can't get those people down low enough, but Ares is very good in an offensive lane with his chains and his Searing Flash. He can easily initiate and do some really great damage to the other characters, but they just can't finish it. And the fact that Ares' ultimate is so easily countered makes this a difficult lane to go up against. So we'll see if they can pull this off. Bacchus, also very good initiation, but not good at finishing fights. Often you'll see an Ares paired with a high damage character, or you'll see a Bacchus paired with a high damage character, but never together. So I see some initiation in the left lane. Looks like they're getting pushed pretty hard here, and that camera still spawns like that. So we're going to have Agni and Sobek in the left lane here and doing some good offense. I expect some good harassment coming out here. They're relying heavily on Onher's Impale here. If Onher doesn't land the Impale, they don't really have good initiation, and they need to be on those walls. Looks like he might go for a charge spray here. Looks like he really wants to. Kanda Gods the minions, goes for the charge spray, lands on top, gets the stun. Let's see if he's going to disperse out. Lands, gets the disperse out just in time. And not really much that can finish off here. All the cooldowns have been used. Impale comes out, lands Agni into the wall, and that's going to be enough to save him. I don't think they had an Ignite or Path of Flames up in there anyway, but it's a good stun initiation. And you saw how effective Badger is at this Sobek. Ran up, used the Hand of the Gods on the minions, and immediately used the Charge Parade right after. Onher was not expecting that. Usually Onher, or any character with a leap, is hard to grab a hold of, but this time he just used his ingenuity to use the Hand of the Gods on the minions right after, and then using his Charge Parade to get that hook. So good offense coming out here. I can't see, usually we'll see an Onher Emir paired up. That's a very good initiation because you usually use the Frost Breath to freeze the enemy and then use the Impale to get an angle, and the Frost Breath buys you enough time to get that perfect angle to the Impale into the wall. And this time we're going to have a Guan Yu in place of the Emir, which is an interesting swap. It allows them more mobility and gives them more of a powerful ultimate. Usually you can't really land an Emir ultimate on top of the enemy. Looks like some initiation in the right lane. Ares getting jumped on, using the chains on top of the Anubis. Anubis lands the Mummify on top of the Grasping Hands. Here comes the Berserker Barrage. Bacchus belly flops out of the danger there, going for some hammer hits, but is it going to be enough? Belch on top of the Anubis, going to land the stun on top of the Thor. Doesn't want to take too many minion hits here, so definitely want to avoid that kind of damage. But at this point, it's It looks like Anubis is effectively landing those mummifies and being very, very good at that. If he can continue to do that, they're going to have a good time here. And I would say as far as ultimates go, then I would give the advantage to the red team here, simply because the damage output is awesome. The only problem is if Thor goes up into the air and waits too long, Anubis might get caught out. Anubis is very easily focused. Look at the initiation in the left lane. Looks like Guan Yu's coming out here, getting attacked by the Sobek. Sobek over some damage comes out from the Agni. Always gonna go for the ignite. Does he have any meteors? He does have a meteor. Here comes 1 meteor, gonna land on top of the Guan Yu. Guan Yu drops kind of low here. Does he have another meteor? He does not. So not enough finishing power there. Does Sobek have his ultimate? Sobek did have his ultimate, so he could have gone for that if he so decided to. Looks like he wanted to play a little safe there and didn't want to get that off. And now this is one thing we see from a lot of players or a lot of teams that are a little bit newer on the scene is they don't head back. You see Honor's a little bit caught out here. Let's see if Sobek goes for the charge. Wait, let's talk about this Honor. Honor's going to get stunned by the stun here on the ignite. Goes for the tail whip. See if Honor goes for the disperse and disperses out for 1 meteor but doesn't drop there. And this is one thing we see from a lot of teams that are very well practiced is they will go back together. Like right here, myRevenge EU is going back together. Whereas back here, Guan Yu ended up heading home, but Honor stayed, and he was so exposed there, so easily taken out and focused there. Luckily, he had to disperse, but if he was a little bit lower or Agni had an extra meteor, it's possible he would have fell there. So definitely need to make sure that if you head back, you need to head back together so you don't expose that teammate, especially a squishy ranged physical carry, and who actually went for Warrior Tabi. I don't know if I agree with this build. It's more of a defensive build, but there are better builds that include more active items than the Warrior Tabi first, so that is going to hurt him a little bit. It's not going to have the damage output that he would if he went for a Heartseeker or another first item that would have been more damage output, but he does have the mobility, so hopefully he's just going to play defensive with that and not try to engage too much. We have Baka solo pushing this right lane over here, and it looks like Ao Kuang is actually having a tough time in the mid against the Invisible Hell. We are currently trying to decipher how exactly Hell went invisible. Maybe in the next match we'll be able to remove her invisible cloak and bring her back into the realm of the gods. But for now, we can't really see her. Ao Kuang is having a tough time. And see, this is one of the problems that I've seen time and time again by some of the players that play Ao Kuang mid, is you really, really need to land that full tornado. And a lot of times they'll do what he's doing now is they'll wait so they don't expose themselves and go for the full tornado as the plane moves up. So it's definitely a good situation here. A lot of players will do this in return, so I take that back. That's a good. We have the initiation over here. Looks like Sobek's going to run right into Honor while he's trying to do the blue buff. Does he take it out? He actually backs off, and the blue buff will leash towards the Guan Yu. Guan Yu coming over here. Does Sobek have his Hand of the Gods up? He might. I cannot tell cooldowns here on the current system, but hopefully if he has that, maybe I'll go. Actually, Honor disperses out towards the tower to be safe. Interesting engagement there. We'll see if they try to go to with that. But again, the Ao Kuang has some tough times in the mid lane. Needs to be able to land those tornadoes, and the Invisible Hell seems to be pushing really hard. Ao Kuang's more of a defensive laner in the beginning, so hopefully he's just going for that. Let's see what he ended up going for. Going for a Warlock Sash, and then Divine Ruin to counter the Hell, but I don't know if it needed to be picked up this soon. He's going for the focus, but the focus doesn't really help him. The mana's kind of low. So I don't know if I agree with this Divine Ruin pickup as a second item before finishing the Warlock Sash. The Warlock Sash is kind of a should take precedence there. The only thing I can think of is the Warlock Sash Tier 1 is very, very expensive. It doesn't allow you to buy Tier 2 in the beginning, so he probably went for Tier 1 Warlock Sash, Tier 1 Divine Ruin, just because he had the extra gold and didn't want to go for... I actually went for active items. I don't know why he has this Divine Ruin so soon. We'll see how that goes. Looks like we might have some initiation here. Looking for a way to get in with the charge play. See if he tries to go for it. Misses the charge play. Maybe with a quick impale. Pretty have impaled to the wall there. We might have some initiation in the right lane. Looks like Ares is going for an ultimate. But both ultimates come out from both Anubis and Thor to avoid the pull from the Ares. Going from the Belch. Belch lands on top of the Anubis. This is the point I was talking about. Thor needs to land quickly. Lands down. Does a double stun. The Mummify comes out on top of the Bacchus. Gets taken out by the Locust Swarm. Aegis Amulet used by the Ares. Let's see if we can take this out. And let's see if we can get it out of the way. And the Creeping Curse comes out just in time. The Tectonic Drift does not land, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get out here. Just a couple more hits and maybe some damage output. And here comes the Berserker Barrage to take down Ares. Excellent, excellent, excellent initiation there. And when I was talking about some initiation in the left lane, actually, on her might get caught here. Ultimate comes out from Guan Yu. Tactician's Advantage on top, so they simply get heal. Here comes the Desert Fury on top of the Sobek. Sobek using the Lurking in the Waters, trying to take out the Honor. Honor might drop this. He's used the beats to try to get off the slow from the Lurking in the Waters, but it might not make. He's just on the tip. Does he get taken out? He does get taken out by the Sobek ultimate, and now it's just Guan Yu by himself. Let's see if we can get Charged Prey here, or maybe a Tail Whip. Gets Charged Prey, gets thrown back. Does he have a stun? Does he have an Ignite? Ultimate comes out, and then the Noxious Fume stun into the Tail Whip, and some good damage come out, and then the Ignite takes him down. So that's a double kill in the left lane and in the right lane for myRevenge EU, just working taking over Team Live and showing their dominance and why they made it to the semifinals of the last myR Revenge Cup. They are a team to be rivaled with, and an amazing effectiveness here. We saw over in the right lane how Ares uses ultimate, but Anubis popped his ultimate during the death gaze. Anubis cannot be pulled, and during the spin up of Thor's ultimate, Anvil of Dawn, he can also not be pulled. So activating both of those, it was an excellent choice to lane these two together against this Bacchus Ares lane, because now Ares ultimate on cooldown. If they both have their ultimates, they don't even need beads or amulets. They can easily just pop their ultimates and avoid that pull and not get caught by the Bacchus ultimate either. This is one of the things I was talking about earlier on. Let's go to the mid lane. Looks like the mid lane's getting pushed by the Invisible Hell pretty hard here. Trying to play as defensive as he can. He has the Warlock Sash now, so he's going to be going for those stacks as much as he possibly can. But in this right lane, I don't see kill potential coming out from Bacchus Ares. This is a very interesting lane choice. I don't see why they decided to do a Bacchus Ares lane. I mean, I can see why they would need either one of them, but you never want to combine that many tanks. They have the Guan Yu support taking their lane, and they have a Bacchus or an Ares. We never see these two combined into one lane just because they have no finishing potential. They need a damager. You see Ares lane with a damager, you see Bacchus lane with a damager, but you never see them laning together, and they don't have the kill potential. You can see how the damage came out from Anubis, even how Anubis is so squishy that Tank might be able to take him out. Anubis is actually lurking in the mid lane. Let's see if he decides to go for something here. Does he come out? Will he land the Mummify? He goes for the slow on top of hell. Does he land the Mummify? Lands the Mummify, the ultimate comes out, and Thor comes down just in case, and the damage comes out again. And this is one of the things we've seen from all the winning teams in the last myR Revenge Cup, and even in the ones in the first few rounds of this myR Revenge tournament. On her end, looks like Guan Yu getting caught. Your ultimate comes out from Guan Yu, lands on top. Each ultimate comes out from the Agni, and he's going to Warrior's Will out. Does Agni get taken out? He does. So let's see if we can't rewind a bit to see what happened there. On her back alive. So on her gets tail whipped into the stun. The Ignite comes out, lands on top. Tail whip pushes him even further. Here comes the ultimate, and on her walks into the ultimate and tries to disperse out. Here comes the ultimate from Sobek. Sobek lurking in the waters. See if he can't go. Here's the ultimate. Alba's trying to block him, but he's not going to be able to avoid it. Here comes the Sobek, taking him out. Here comes the ultimate from the Guan Yu, using the Aegis Aim on top of the Agni. Does he try to go to chase for this? Does he have a meteor? He doesn't have a meteor if you look at the top of his head. Here comes the stun from the Ignite. Does he land the charge ray? The charge ray on top of him. Here comes the Path of Flames, and the tail whip pushes him into the jungle. And one more hit will do it. Takes him down. Another double kill in the left lane. They are just getting stomped on here. It is amazing the coordination they have on her, getting picked every single time and gets no opportunity to use his disperse to get out there. And right after the mid lane, we've seen all the winning teams go for a mid gank around the 7 to 9 minute mark. Just very, very early mid ganks just coming in, especially with a Thor. Thor is one of the best mid gankers in the game, simply because it is almost impossible to see it coming unless you know it's coming. So without wards or vision or missing calls, you can't really see it's coming because it's just going to land on top of you and stun you and give you the opportunity to get that. Didn't really need the Thor there in the mid lane, but it definitely was an insurance policy in case the Mummify didn't land. But the Mummify landed and the Death Gaze came out and got that kill. So we're 8-0 at the 9.5 minute mark. We're up about 7,000 gold, a little bit less, about 6,500 gold from myR Revenge EU. And myR Revenge EU just setting the pace for this game and showing why they made it to the semifinals of the myR Revenge Cup number 6. In the right lane, we have Thor facing up against Bacchus Ares. See if he can't push this in. He's actually pushing this in pretty well as Anubis is going around roaming and ganking. And again, this is one of the things we see from all of the competitive teams that are making it to late stages of the tournaments that have been going on so far in the beta, is the fact that they're highly, highly mobile. They're reacting to everything. They're moving around. They're setting up ganks. They're stealing buffs. And even now, they might get pinned. Agni coming into Guan Yu and on her here. Sobek Disperse comes over from the on her, but Sobek didn't even get a chance to do that. Here comes the tornado, and this is one of the reasons why Ao Kuang is still picked, is because right here they can't move forward. Tornadoes can effectively shut off areas and prevent people from going where they want to go, and that's pretty much one of the only strengths that Ao Kuang has, is that in tight corridors or anything like that, he can easily shut off something or prevent people from moving forward because they don't want to step into the tornado. Without that kind of traffic control mentality, Ao Kuangs usually don't win out. See if we can land a Squall here to clear this all up, get some free stacks. Oh, the hell heal comes out right after. Heals us back up, prevents it from being able to get that. Left lane getting pushed yet again by the Agni and the Sobek, doing some good harassment here, trying to take this down. And there's not a whole lot I think it was good. Has some initiation in the right lane. Let's see if we can do this. Belch comes out from the Bacchus. It's just Thor and the Anubis. Does he have a Mummify up? He might not be going for that. Just trying to finish his tower off. It just has one hit. Anubis says, please kill it. Oh, the Mummify comes out and the Locust Swarm takes him down just in swift order. An easy pick there. not even breaking a sweat here. Looks like Ares is going to come up trying to defend this lane, but it's just going to take one hit from the Anubis, takes it down. Not much of a deal. Here comes the chains coming out. Does he actually, Thor ends up leaving. Can he take this? The Locust Storm comes out. He decides to back off. He probably could have finished that with an ultimate. I don't know if the Anubis ultimate is down. So see, here comes the ultimate. Does he have beads or amulet or anything? Uses the beads to prevent that. And this is why Ares really isn't picked in a competitive setting, is he's so easily counterable. It's almost as if he doesn't have an ultimate. The only time his ultimate is relevant, looks like an initiation in the left lane. On her gets charge prayed again. Here comes the tactics advantage on top of both of them. The stun actually lands on top of the Agni. Agni might get Desert Fury here, doing some good damage. He's going to Path of Flames out in time. Uses the Aegis Amulet, trying to take that down. Agni getting pretty low. Path of Flames out just now. Uses a sprint, uses a stun, goes for the Ignite on top of the Honor. Honor avoids the Meteor, and actually Agni might go down here. Here comes the tail up on top of the Guan Yu. Does Guan Yu have enough? And uses a really random Meteor there. But Guan Yu getting kind of low. Here comes the Honor to pick off the last hit. And does Guan Yu survive? He might be able to. Here comes the Alcon ultimate. Let's see if he can. Warriors wills the back way, and now he's fully reliant upon Ao Kuang to save him here. Here comes the tail whip, it's going to kill him right off as that damage comes out. Does Ao Kuang have enough to chase this down? We'll see. They're actually not going to go for this. An interesting turn of events. Actually, Thor's going to be ulting here. Does he go down? Goes on top of the Honor. Does he land it with the Mjolnir's attunement? And Ao Kuang's not really much here. And here comes the tornadoes, but it's not going to be enough. And this is one of the reasons why Ao Kuang is so weak early game, is because he's really meant just for his damage. If he doesn't have high damage, he doesn't really do much. He doesn't provide much. You can see how his teammates are dying all around him, but there's not a whole lot Ao Kuang can do about it. It was very interesting to see those two missed meteors from Agni. Honor actually just barely avoided the second meteor here to avoid that damage coming out, and just barely got out there. Thor's coming behind the Bacchus in the mid lane. Let's see if we can't get this. The Tectonic Rift comes down as the tower dies. Berserker Barrage on top of Bacchus. Bacchus is just going to belly flop out here. Here comes the Hell, doing some good invisible damage as an invisible character. Here comes out the damage, but it's not going to hit him there. Sobek doing the movement speed buff on the top of the map. Looks like Anubis and Ares in the right lane fighting it off. The ultimate comes out from Anubis. Let's see if we can catch that action coming down. Here comes the Locust Swarm. Does he land the Mummify? Here comes the ultimate coming out from Anubis. A little bit of a bug there, preventing me from seeing the laser beam coming out there, but we just got to bear with it as the bugs are prevalent in this current system, a replay system. Ao Kuang in the mid lane trying to defend this up. Here comes Anubis, might go after this, and here's Thor as well. Tectonic Rift is a good setup for a free Mummify on top of the Ao Kuang, so it might be able to get taken out here. Looks like On Her and Guan Yu doing the blue buff, taking this free, although they might get caught. Here comes Agni and Sobek coming in from around. Here comes the Ignite on top of the On Her and the Guan Yu. Here comes the Sobek. Does Sobek want to go for the charge spray on top of the On Her? He really does. Let's see if he ends up going for it here. Here comes the charge spray, throws the On Her into the wall. Here comes the stun coming out from the Agni with the Path of Flames. The Tectonic Rift comes from Thor from the backside. See if Thor can hit this with the Mjolnir's attunement. Berserker Barrage comes out, but he's taken out by the Berserker Barrage. Here comes Bacchus trying to take this out, and Guan Yu uses the Warrior's Will to back out here. Here comes the Belch on top. It might be a triple stun. Only stuns on top of the Agni. Agni getting hit by the tornadoes here. Some good damage coming out. Here comes the Ares ultimate. Do they land it on top of anyway? Let's see. Sobek avoids it. Here comes with the ultimate. And then Agni gets pulled, but the Ao Kuang ultimate just barely misses. Oh, that was so close. Here comes the Searing Flesh on top of the Agni. Agni's going to dash out, but actually survives just barely. Here comes Sobek ultimate on top of the Ao Kuang. Ultimate comes out from the Agni. Here comes the Sickening Strike to take down the Ao Kuang. Ao Kuang dies, and Ares is in a tough spot here, getting really, really low. Goes out for the chains, but he's not going to survive this. And that was just so close, guys. What happened was Ares ultimate stood, pulled up the Agni. Agni got pulled right here, and it was just a little bit of a mismatch of a lineup. Looks like they're going to be going for a Gold Fury here. But unfortunately, the Ao Kuang ultimate wasn't lined up with the Ares ultimate. Just a little bit of miscommunication between teammates. Our Ares could have easily pulled the Agni into the Ao Kuang ultimate, and that would have been the end of Agni. The damage would have stopped from Agni, but they actually missed the Ao Kuang ultimate just by a hair as Ares pulled him just to the side of the Ao Kuang ultimate, and that was just another huge exchange for myRevenge EU, up by about 13k at this point, taking a huge decisive lead, 16-1, 14 minutes in this game, and this is going to be a tough rest of the game for Team Live. They're looking at elimination here. Remember, this is a best of one single elimination match inside of the myRevenge Cup number 7. This is a round 3. So once you lose this, that's it. This is it. So they have to go for an all-in strategy. They have to do some kind of risky strategy. They might want to go for a Fire Giant. Let's see if they have any wards up. If we check the minimap vision, they one ward in front of the Fire Giant for the blue team here, so they do know all about Fire Giant attempts, but no for the Gold Fury, so they had no idea the Gold Fury was there. Let's go ahead and throw this up here, and we have Hell taking up the mid lane, Agni, and Anubis might run into Guan Yu here. Let's see if we can't catch this. Anubis gets a little bit caught there, but Guan Yu decides to back up, not really winning the game, and if you're in the kind of position that Team Live is in at this current point in time, you really don't want to take any risks. Thor ultimate coming up. Let's see if they decide to go on one of them. Here comes the Thor ultimate. Is he going to try and initiate on this? He'll be really far away. Actually does not land it on top of the On Her, but lands the Tectonic Rift start to block him off. Here comes the Hell, the invisible Hell, trying to do some damage here. Agni here as well might go for the initiation. Honor is walking away, so this is a 4-man position here. Anubis in the right lane, and Honor, this is a 4v4 in the mid lane. Here comes Monio's attunement to push this down. Ignite coming down, and so far we've seen not much success from Ao Kuang's in the myR Revenge tournaments thus far. It's really difficult for an Ao Kuang to be super effective. He really needs to focus on his farm and his damage. Thor actually beginning up on Fire Giant. Now let's see if Team Live knows about this. They don't have any vision now, but they may have saw them going in there. Let's see if they try to react to it. The Fire Giant is coming down. It's going down quite quickly, actually. They need to hurry up. They might have some ultimates coming out. Let's see if they use some ultimates on the red team. They have no ultimate, and they do realize it now. Here they come. Let's see if we can't catch this action. Here comes the Agni ultimate to get a stun on the entire team. Gets another charge prey on top of the Ares thrown out here. Here comes the Ao Kuang ultimate in the whole corridor. Does damage to the whole team here, doing some really good damage. Here comes the Desert Fury coming out from Honor. The ultimate comes out for Guan Yu, but Guan Yu dies before the 2 hits head. Here comes the Locust Storm to take him out. The slow from the Sobek. Here comes the ultimate coming out from Ares, but there's no people left alive on Team Live. It's just Ares with his ultimate, who doesn't pull very many. Goes for the Searing Flesh, but he's going to die in short order here. Gets taken out, and that is a 5-for-0 exchange outside of the Fire Giant, and then a concede. Amazing turnaround here. Just a huge stomp, and we can see the difference between a team that's been playing a lot in a competitive manner and a team that hasn't, simply because it's just the damage output and the coordination in the lanes, and we saw just the knowledge base. I don't really think that a Bacchus Ares lane was that great, nor have we seen an Ares pick at all in any of the later stages of any of these tournaments. So an Ares pick was a bit of a risk. It can work out if you have a team full of gods that focus on things that will be countered by beads. So if you have an Anubis that can get countered by beads with the Mummify, you have an myR. If you have a lot of characters like a Hades and stuff like that, if you have a lot of characters that rely on abilities that could be removed by beads and amulet, the Ares can force them to use those active items, and then your team can come in and use their items, and that would be the only situation where an Ares would be competitively viable. If it were, it's a very small subset of team comps that will work with an Ares, and that's only if Ares fits into the support tank role. We saw 3 support tanks coming out from Team Live there, and that was a bit of a mistake as far as just the picking stages of the game. And then as we saw, the pace of the game was set by myR Revenge EU, and the semifinalists from the last cup definitely showed why they were that. So as always, my name is Driver. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in my next shoutcast.